Hey guys, so today's video I'm going to be teaching you how to make these butter crunch cookies. I really hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, make sure to give it a thumbs up before you go and please subscribe to my channel. And without further ado, let's get on to the recipe. So the first thing you want to start by doing is adding your closed cube butter to your saucepan. Then you want to add in your sugar and you just want to mix this together on a medium-low heat. And you just want to mix this every now and then. Just make sure you keep your eye on it just so nothing sticks to the bottom or nothing gets burnt at the bottom. So make sure to stir it every now and then. Then after a while, it's going to get to this thicker consistency. And at this point, I used my whisk to make sure everything stayed nice and smooth. And then after this, you just want to add in your vanilla extract and your salt. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but you can kind of tell that it's starting to separate. The oil and the sugar is just separating. And that is because I turned the heat down way too low. I did not even notice I turned it down literally too low. And that caused a very big temperature change. And I turned the heat way too low. So you just want to keep it at around the same temperature. Do not turn the heat down too low. You can turn it down a little bit if you feel like the heat is too high, but don't do that, otherwise it's going to come to this consistency. It is fixable though. I just turned it up back to the heat it was before, and then I whisked it and eventually it came together. So yeah, don't fear if it does do that. It is fixable. I will link something in the description that maybe described it a little better, so make sure to check the link in the description if it does happen to you. Once your toffee is done, as soon as it's finished, take it off the heat and put it on a parchment lined cookie sheets and just pour it all over it. And then I just set this in the fridge while I started on my cookie dough. Now moving on to the cookie dough. In a medium bowl, you want to add your room temperature butter, your white sugar, and your brown sugar. And you just want to mix this until everything is creamed together. Now you just want to add in your vanilla extract and your egg, and again you just want to mix this until everything has come together. For the dry ingredients, you just want to use a sifter and add in your all-purpose flour, your salt, and your baking soda. Then I just whisk this to make sure all of the dry ingredients were incorporated. Then you want to add this to your wet ingredients and whisk this until the dough forms. By the way, I first ended up making half the recipe because I could have sworn the recipe said I would make 3 dozen and I didn't want to make that much, so I halved the recipe. And so yeah, once I finished the dough, I realized it was not enough dough, so I ended up making a whole another batch off camera and added it to this dough. But I ended up having to use 2 eggs just because the dough wasn't coming together. So I used 2 eggs in total. So if your dough isn't coming together, you find it's still crumbly and the dough isn't forming, just add another egg and it should be totally fine. Because in total I ended up using 2 eggs, but maybe that's because I made 2 separate doughs, but I'm not sure, just letting you guys know. Once the toffee was hardened, I used a knife to break up the toffee into small pieces, and eventually that wasn't working very well, so I moved it over into a bag and basically did the same thing, and that helped a little better. So yeah, that's just what I ended up doing to break up the toffee. Then you just want to add all of your toffee into your dough, and I mixed this together. I tried to do it with a spoon, but that was not working, so I moved on to my hands to make sure all the dough was incorporated with the toffee. Once your dough is finished, you can now form the dough into cookie balls, and my cookies I would say are around the bigger side. Obviously you can make your cookies whatever size you would like, but the size I ended up making made around 16 cookies. But once your dough ball is finished, everything's on parchment paper, just put this in the oven at 375 for around 10 to 12 minutes. And once they come out of the oven, make sure you let them cool a bit before eating. And yeah, that is it for the finished recipe. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I would say these are probably the best cookies I've made. I really enjoyed these. They taste really good and even good the next day as well. So I really recommend you guys try this out. Other measurements will be in the description, so make sure you check that out if you want to make this. And I'll see you guys next week with a new video. Bye guys!